Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Hello,
Chag
everyone.
Sameach, everybody. What a wonderful week we had. I know we're all home.
Yes.
And that goes without saying, but I think that we were able to come together more than once this past week. Some of you have joined us for our virtual Seder, which was a lot of fun and a great way to be together. So how are you feeling from last Shabbat to this Shabbat?
I'm feeling pretty good, getting used to the current normal. I'm not going to call it the new normal because eventually we're going to go back to being out and about in the world and able to hug each other. It's my mom's birthday today. Happy birthday, Mom. And we're having a Zoom call for her birthday, which hadn't occurred to me. My dad had the brilliant idea. I don't know why. I'm in Zoom meetings all day long, every day, but it just didn't occur to me that you could do it also for fun things until we had done the Seder. And I thought, oh, yeah, of course. So I'm looking forward to that and finding ways to find the silver linings in where we are right now.
This week I've been brushing up on some texts that I haven't looked at in a while because I have a little more time at least to be at home to prepare for all these services that we're doing together. And I was looking at Song of Songs, and it was reminded that there is a tradition to read the Song of Songs in most Ashkenazi congregations on the Shabbat of Chol HaMoed Pesach, which is today.
I was going to ask you about that when you said you wanted to do some Dodi Li and some Kumilach, and I thought, why are we doing the Song of Songs for Pesach? I'm so glad you wanted to talk about that because I forgot to ask you out loud.
So actually, the standard explanation that I have heard for years was that the text of Song of Song on chapter 2, verse 4 says, Ki hine hastaf avar hageshem chalav halachlo, which means, for now the winter is past, the rains are over and gone, which is a reference to the time when spring comes in the land of Israel, which is the end of the rainy season, which I think connects Pesach to spring. However, I learned some more details about this, and the details come from a text that is a very well-known text for those who deal in liturgy, but not a very well-known text for the rest of the world. It's called Machzor Vitri.
Okay.
And it's a Siddur, basically, from the Middle Ages in France. And there, the explanation is that one of the reasons why we read Shira Shirim, Song of Songs, during Pesach is found on chapter 1 of Song of Songs, verse 9. And this actually makes sense to me.
Okay.
Now it does make sense. It says, so this is two lovers talking to each other, and this is in the context in which the rabbis in the Talmud and in other types of rabbinic literature have connected this love between the two people in the Song of Songs as being a metaphor for the love between God and the people of Israel.
Okay.
All right, that's how they justify including Song of Songs into the canon of the Hebrew Bible, despite the fact that God is never mentioned. And the text says, I have likened you, my darling, lesusati birchavei paro, to a mare in Pharaoh's chariot. So now you see, this is how the rabbinic mind works. So I think I mentioned that yesterday. In the rabbis' chronology of Pesach, you have the first night of the Seder, which is the night of the 10th plague. And then the next day is Leil Shimurim. The night in between is the vigil, the night of watching. And now the Jews are leaving Goshen and they're moving towards the Sea of Reeds, and they will get there on the 7th day of Pesach. So what happens in between? Pharaoh changes his mind, as you may recall, one more time and pursues the Israelites, the Jews. And so Pharaoh is riding his chariot with his very best mare, as part of that.
Right.
So the whole story now is kind of placed in that period in between the first day and the last day of Pesach.
Oh, those rabbis.
Oh,
So
my
clever.
goodness, So that's what it is. Lesusati birchavei paro dimitich rayati. I have likened you, my darling, to a mare in Pharaoh's chariots. So
Which
there
would
you
be
have
the
it.
best of the pick.
The best of the pick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So
The more you know.
the more you know, and this is, you keep learning, and that's just part of how Judaism and Jewish life is. We'd like to welcome everybody who's joining us today. We're coming to you from the studio at Blue Fox Production
Thank you,
in
Blue
Lenexa.
Fox.
You can find links to our Siddur in the Facebook event, and the links to the Mishaberach and the Kaddish list can be found in the e-news that you received on Friday morning. Please say hi if you're watching by typing Shabbat Shalom in the comment space, and don't forget to hit return. Also, this would be a great time to share our Facebook live streaming on all your social media, and thanks for doing that.
I'm not even trying it this morning.
Just a reminder about page numbers. If you have two sets, we are calling the numbers in the brackets. We thought that may be easier if we're using the number 2 services because there are less pages to skip.
Yeah.
So we are now doing the service following Shabbat morning service, Roman numeral 2 in your Mishkan Tefillah. So find that. And the page numbers are at the bottom corner of the image. And like every week, we are monitoring the comments and we'll answer your questions as much as we can. We join together in thanking God for having restored our souls this morning and bringing us back to this moment we can come together again on page 288 in the square brackets.
Ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, שהחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה, בחמלה, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שהחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה, בחמלה, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך.
We join together on page 291, 291. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר יצר את האדם בחוכמה, וברא בו נקבים נקבים, חלולים חלולים, גלוי וידוע לפני כיסא כבודך, שאם יפתח אחד מהם, או יסתם אחד מהם, אי אפשר להתקיים ולעמוד לפניך. ברוך אתה אדוני, רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות. 292.
אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי טהורי, אלוהי נשמה שנתת
On page 293, we will begin offering blessings for our daily miracles. And so many new things I think we have found about ourselves and about our families and our loved ones. And it's wonderful to see all those new things we learn from each other as miracles that happen every day, since we spend so much time together now.
Yeah. Yes, we do. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan לשכל ובינה להבחין בין יום ובין לילה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, פוקח עברים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, מתיר אסורים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, זוקף כפופים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, רוקע הארץ על המים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המכין מצעדי גבר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, מלביש ערומים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, הנותן ליהב כוח. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המעביר שינה מעיני ותמונה מאף אפי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שעשני בצלם אלוהים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שעשני בן חורין. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שעשני ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, עוזר ישראל בגבורה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, עוטר ישראל בתפארה.
On page 292, I'm sorry, 302, we join together as we sing the second paragraph of this song for Shabbat. And it is actually in the middle of the page where the words beginning with Tzadik Katamar.
Tzadik Katamar Yifrach Ke'erez Balvanon, Balvanon Yizker Shetulim Bebeit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Od Yenuvun Beseva Deshenim Verana Nimiu Lehagid Ki Yashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Avlata Bo.
Page 306, we will continue together with Hallelujah, page 306.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, הללויה. כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, הללויה. הללויה, 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 הללויה. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
think yesterday somebody asked us why we're not doing everything that we normally do
Oh,
on
yes. Yeah, yeah.
services. The reason we explained at the very beginning the first time, but we're going to say it
That
again.
was a long time
That was a
ago.
long time ago. When we first put together these services, my vision was to have not a service per se, like at the synagogue, because we're not at the synagogue, but to have an opportunity for us to share a time together with familiar prayers. So it's more of an extended reflection, if you want, or an extended Dvar Torah, a moment for us to share Shabbat together from our homes, without the sanctuary, without the Torah scrolls, without the kahal, without the community. So we choose different pieces, parts that we feel that are prayers that represent different sections of the service. So we kind of touch on all the parts of the service, but we don't do everything that we will normally do at services. Partially also because, and I might be wrong, in thinking that if we do a 2-hour streaming, people may lose some attention.
Yeah, yeah.
I would. It's very hard to be here without any feedback from anybody.
Well, there's a lot of
we
choreography.
have each other. We have each other here.
But there's also a lot of choreography in our services. And,
and we move around. We have a Torah service.
Yeah.
We get up, we get down. Here we're sitting, and so that's what it is. I decided after talking to Leslie and having ideas about what to do, that this would be a better way of doing it than simply repeating the service that we normally do and have you witness that. So that's why we're doing it this way. So we are now on page 317. We will do a reading as part of the blessing before reciting the Shema, and then we'll recite the Shema together. And again, we recite the Shema the way that we would do in private, which is without the Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto line, without the second line. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age, your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity. We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel, and joyfully we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we would turn to you and find purpose. May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch Ata Adonai, הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem emet.
Amen. On page 322, we join together as we sing Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neda b'kodesh,
נורא תהילו,
עושה פלא, עושה פלא, שרח חדשה שלחו גלים, לשמחה בשפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש,
נורא תהילות,
עושה פלא, עושה פלא, עושה פלא. Well done.
It's hard to sing and do the percussion, I must say. I admire whoever can do that.
It takes practice.
We're next.
You did a great job.
Thank you. The next part of the service, it's our Amidah, our standing prayer. And again, here's when we make the space available, the silence, the opportunity for us to do our private prayers. We can use the words on our Siddur. We can offer a prayer from our own hearts. We begin on page 322, right, this page, with Tzur Israel, and then we move into the Amidah, and it continues through page 337.
צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל,
ופדחי נומך,
יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. אדוני שפתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Ase shalom bimromav, uyase shalom. Aleinu ve'o Yisrael, ve'imeru. Amen. Our service continues now with the reading of the Torah. We will begin on page 367 with Al Shlosha Devarim. And this is the moment for our akafa and all that. So if you are going to, get up and run Grab
around.
your little mini Torahs and hakafah yourself around your living rooms or your kitchens. It's what you're doing in my heart. It's what you were doing in my heart. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ma'olam omed. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ma'olam omed. Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam omed. You can find the links for our Torah readings on our Facebook Live. They were right there. And they should take you to the reading for the Shabbat of Chol HaMoed Pesach. So the holiday of Pesach lasts 7 days. The first day and the last day are considered a Yom Tov, which is like Shabbat. And there are special readings of the Torah for that morning. And then they are, 5 days of Chol HaMoed. And during those 5 days, there are different readings of the Torah. When we get, usually, not always, but sometimes we may get one Shabbat in between. If we do, the reading comes from the book of Exodus chapter 34. Now, we don't have time, honestly, to go into details of why chapter 34 is included here. So I'm going to give you a very short answer, and then we're going to look at the text together. The answer is the rabbis tell us. Oh my gosh, that was so what I was going to say. I was just being cheeky because the rabbis say so. I got one right.
The text of the Haftarah for this morning, which we're now reading, comes from Ezekiel, and it's the story of the resurrection of the bones and all that.
Ooh, I like that
Again,
one.
it's a great story. Again, I'm a little bit of a doubtful sometimes of the rabbi's judgment in some of these things, but I am not going to doubt him to the point that I will change the reading. But the reading itself is a great reading. So in the context of the book of Exodus, this is from Parashat Ki Tisa, we find the Israelites, the Jews, in the desert right after the episode of the golden calf.
Oh my.
So there might be one connection there that the reason why we are reminded of what happens after the golden calf is that the Jews coming from Egypt could not really completely shed their connections to Egyptian religion, and therefore that's one explanation of why the reading that comes afterwards, which is the second covenant, it's a way of saying there's hope, there's redemption in the future. Even this bunch of slaves recently liberated were able to be given a second chance. The other section here is a part in which, excuse me, Moses appears, has a special encounter with God, is the one about the rock and hiding all that. We're not going to go into that, because the part that I really want to focus on is the very beginning. The beginning of chapter 34, we read, "And Adonai said to Moses, carve 2 tablets of stone like the first, and I will inscribe upon the tablets the words that were on the first tablets, which you shattered. Be ready by morning and come up," and all that. So we'll read it together. I think, and this is maybe my own perception, that most people don't realize that there were 2 sets of tablets.
Yeah.
You think most people think that?
No, I don't think. I think the only people that have a good idea of that are Mel Brooks fans.
Well, Mel Brooks, who, of course, knew his Torah and his...
Yeah. But no, I don't think that is... We don't hold it in our brains either. I would say that's also one of those things that you learn that just falls out of your brain, because we think of the 10 Commandments. We don't remember that part of the story. And that's just my theory.
So for all you people out there, let's for a moment assume that God wrote the tablets on which the 10 Commandments were written.
Okay.
They're gone. Moses shattered them. Ooh. We have no way to recover those. I know.
That just made me a little, that's an uncomfortable feeling.
And that could have been the end of the story, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't. And that's why I find chapter 34 so full of hope and redemption. And maybe that's one of the reasons why we read it on Pesach, because Pesach is a festival of redemption. I'm just, again, throwing out things I read that people have written about this, none of which completely answers the question why we're reading this chapter on Pesach. But, and I also think that it is a wonderful story about second chances. And we are in the middle of this pandemic. And we, I think, should learn at least one thing, that we will survive.
Mm-hmm.
How and in what conditions, we don't know yet. But we will survive as a people. And we will get a second chance. And that's when we're going to prove or not whether we've learned our lessons from this pandemic or not.
Oh, I love that.
We're given a second chance. And I think this is what the Jews are going through too. They're given a second chance, and now you can make it right.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a wonderful text to think about it. And among the things that I was contemplating for this Shabbat are the words of a friend of mine who's written many books. His name is Jeff Salkin. He's a rabbi. And he wrote a book called the JPS B'nai Mitzvah Torah Commentary. And it is a book that, excuse me, that we usually give or help. Hold on a second, I need to take a sip.
Absolutely. We talk a lot lately.
And still, if you're watching, I did it. I did it right.
He can be taught, ladies and gentlemen.
And So his book is great because he does talk about all the various interpretations that we find in the Talmud and in the Midrash, but he does it in a way that a 13-year-old can relate to.
Wow.
So he talks about
I like
this as an introduction to the section. This is like rebooting your computer. You know, when nothing else works,
Right.
then you have to reboot everything. You know, and hope that the things will work out better next time. All right. So this is kind of the reboot of the relationship between God and the Jewish people, and also between God and Moses. You know, you read there, God says to Moses, "You shattered them." I mean, it's very clear.
Yeah.
This is something you did. I did not ask you to do this, God says. You just did it. And then he asks this question, which I think is a question that goes back to, first, we need to realize that there are two tablets, two sets of tablets. And then the question is, which set is better?
That's an intriguing question.
Is the old shattered set better than the new? And he has a few answers, and of course, many of the commentators have commented on this. So perhaps the first set is better, and for several reasons. Maybe one of the reasons being that we know that God said that but God, not Moses, would carve and write the first set. So they are better because they are really made by God. Therefore, they are perfect in the sense that there's no human hand involved in that to bring any imperfection to them. All right? David Weiss Halivni, Jeff teaches, ever since the breaking of the tablets, we have been trying to figure out the real meaning of the Torah that was once revealed to us. And it's something that Abraham Joshua Heschel also said. He teaches that God revealed the Torah to Moses in all its fullness, and Moses, a finite human being, wrote down what he could comprehend. So this idea that, yes, there were a set of tablets. There was a moment when we actually had the direct communication, revelation from God. But at the same time, they're gone. Those revelations are no longer with us, either because Moses couldn't comprehend everything, or because if they were in those first set of tablets, they're shattered and they're no longer. I know that newer is better always. I like my newer version of the iPhone than the older version. But there is a possibility, too, that the second set is, quote unquote, better. Why? Well, some scholars and commentators suggest that this second set was actually more complete. And Rabbi Solkin mentions that some of the commentators say that this second set contained not only the so-called Ten Commandments, but also the entire Torah and the Hebrew Bible, plus the rabbinic tradition and that we know as the oral Torah. We read in the Talmud, God said to Moses, "Do not be distressed over the first tablets, which contain only the Ten Commandments. In the second tablets, I am giving you also Halakha, Jewish law, Midrash, the interpretations, and the Haggadah, all the lessons and the legends. According to this understanding," Rabbi Solkin concludes, "the first set was just the beginning of Judaism, just the basic Ten Commandments, a very abbreviated Torah. The second set of tablets contain everything else." So the second set is better not because they are newer, but because we had more time and there's more content in them, so they are bigger. So it's a more exhaustive, comprehensive approach. Now, the second set, I kind of like. Well, first of all, it's the only set we got, so I get used to it. But the second set, I think it's better, and I will go with that. Rabbi Nissenbaum teaches the first set of tablets were fashioned by God alone. Moses passively received them. The second set will be a joint divine human effort.
Oh, I like that.
And this is something we always teach about Judaism, that it is a partnership between God and humans. And this is partially the reasoning behind Tikkun Olam. You know, Tikkun means the repair of the world. And you're like, wait a minute, repair? What's broken? Well, the idea there is not that it's necessarily, it is broken, and we know why, but the point there is that Tikkun implies partnership, that we are co-creators with God into the world. And I think that is, the second set is a better set of tablets than the first one.
And Moses scribed the second set, right? He had to do the work of it. God inscribed
no,
the first
it says,
one.
No, actually it says that, it says Moses did the carving and God did the inscribing.
But Moses did the physical carving.
Correct.
I just think that, you know, what we have learned about education over the past several decades is that we learn best when we include all of our senses. So I also think that that is better, because by being a part of it, we learn it more than somebody just saying, okay, here's your rules, go, good luck. By being part of that and writing it down and being physically part of that process, we really embody it, both physically and literally and figuratively.
One last thing. I tend to like the second set. I think they're better. But there is a rabbinic tradition that answers the question about what happened to the first set.
Ooh, okay.
And you would think, well, did they leave them behind? You know, Moses broke them, either 10 or 15 commandments, depends on who, you know, what movie you watch. Well, the crumbles, these little pieces left behind there in the desert, or what happened to them? There is a tradition in Tractate Brachot that says that the fragments of the first set of tablets were carried in the ark along with the replacement.
Oh, wow.
So that in the ark that our people carried through the desert, they were both the first shattered set and also the new set of tablets. So it's the new better than the old, it's the old better than the new. Rabbi Solkin concludes, we always travel with our past. It is very hard to give up. As well, it should be. So whether we like the first set or the second, I think we will always carry with us, as part of our experience, the good with the not so good. And I feel like this experience that we're all having during this pandemic will be one of those experiences. We will always remember we were there at that time in 2020. And that will be something that is now part of our past. And we need to learn from it and learn to do better next time. And I think this is part of where the Israelites found themselves in this moment too. They have to live with the shattered tablets and then also know that they have a new set.
That is really beautiful, man. I dig that.
Thank you.
That is really nice. Apparently this is This is day let your hippie out of quarantine. I try to be so official in my language, but I just want to be like, yes, man, that is beautiful. That is glorious.
Thank you. Because again, we're doing this in a different way. We are reciting different alternative blessings for the reading of the Torah, and they're on page 369, 369. So these are the alternative blessings before the reading of the Torah. Holy One of blessing, your presence fills creation. You have enlightened this path with the wisdom of Torah, giving it to the Jewish people as their particular way. Blessed are you, merciful one, who gives this Torah to the Jewish people. Chapter 34 of the book of Exodus. I'm reading verse 1 through verse 7. ויאמר אדוני אל משה, פסל לך שני לוחות אבנים כראשונים, וכתבתי על הלוחות את הדברים אשר היו על הלוחות הראשונים אשר שיברתם. ויהי נכון לבוקר, ועלית בבוקר על ההר סיני, וניצבת לי שם על ראש ההר, ואיש לא יעלה עמך, וגם איש אל ירע בכל ההר, גם הצאן והבקר לא יראו אל מול ההר ההוא. ויבשול שני לוחות הבנים כראשונים. וישכם משה בבוקר, ויעל על ההר סיני כאשר ציווה אדוני אותו. ויקח בידו שני לוחות אבנים. וירד אדוני בענן, ויתייצב עמו שם. ויקרא בשם אדוני. ויעבור אדוני על פניו, ויקרא אדוני, אדוני, אל רחום וחנון, ערך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת. נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטאה, ונקה לא ינקה. פוקד עוון עבוד על בנים ועל בני בנים, על שילשים ועל רבעים. Page 369. Oh, hold on a second. I forgot to read. I usually read it
in English.
So yes, because you may not have it in front of you. I apologize. Adonai said to Moses, carve 2 tablets of stone like the first, and I will inscribe upon the tablets the words that were on the first tablets, which you shattered. Be ready by morning, and in the morning come up to Mount Sinai and present yourself there to me on the top of the mountain. No one else shall come up with you, and no one else shall be seen anywhere on the mountain. Neither shall the flocks or the herds graze at the foot of the mountain. So Moses carved 2 tablets of stone like the first, and early in the morning he went up on Mount Sinai, as Adonai had commanded him, taking the 2 stone tablets with him. Adonai came down in a cloud. God stood with him there and proclaimed the name Adonai. Adonai passed before him and proclaimed, Adonai, Adonai, a God compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in kindness and faithfulness, extending kindness to the 1,000th generation, forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin. Yet Adonai does not remit all punishment, but visits the iniquity of parents upon children and children's children, upon the third and fourth generation. You may recall the text. We say it on high holidays and at some festivals, Adonai, Adonai, El Rahum, Bechanum.
Yes.
But we don't say the part that God does not forgive, which is at the end.
We leave out the yucky
part. That's the rabbi's choice, and we follow it. Page 369. Holy One of blessing, your presence fills creation. This Torah is a teaching of truth, whole and balanced, and from it comes eternal life for the people who embrace it. Blessed are you, merciful One, who gives this Torah to the Jewish people. At this moment in our service, as we heard words of Torah, we also want to offer a prayer for those in need of healing. If you look at your screen, you will see an area for adding comments. And we'll ask you to please offer names there. In that space, you can type the names that we can all see. Remember to hit enter. Please go ahead and type the names. In this time of pandemic, we offer special prayer for those who help in healing. May the one who blessed and led our forebears give countenance unto those who provide help for the ill and troubled among us. May they be filled with fortitude and courage, endowed with sympathy and compassion, as they give strength to those at their side. May they fight against despair and continue to find within themselves the will to reach out to those in need. And in their love of others, may they feel the blessing of community and the blessing of renewed faith. On page 374, we conclude this section of our service of the reading of the Torah with Etz Chaim. Etz Chaim lamachazikim ba vetol Kadesh Yameinu Kekedem. As we prepare for our moment of remembrance, we will continue on page 595. 595. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in company of those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world. In each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one whose life, now ended, brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone and every life finds purpose. We now think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us. We are observing the Shloshim period for Richard Dick Furtick, great uncle of Laura Bolter, Virginia Esser, aunt of Glenn Esser. And on this Shabbat, we remember those who died in this season in years past, especially the following yordzites of members of our congregation: Esther Abend, Joseph Abend, Irino Bellotti, Francis Butcher, Marlene Zarlinski, Duana Linville Drolus, Morris Ellis, Teresa Estrada, Florence Fine, Meyer Fish, Dorothy Frank, Samuel S. Fried, Martin Gilgus, Louis Glazer, William Goldman, Morton Hellman, Rose Inger, Herb Eisenberg, Don Levine, Corlin Nelkin, Sherry Nelkin, Eileen Broskow Porter, Shirley Rabinovitz, Marilyn Rosenthal, Charles Rubens, Edward Serlin, Hazel Stapleton, Joseph Stark. We invite you now to offer other names that you remember on this Shabbat, and please add them on the comment line. Zichronam livracha, may the memories be for a blessing. On page 598, if you would like to join us as we stand, please do so. Kaddish Yatom Mourners Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמה דברה חירותה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון ובימיכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תוש בחתה ונחמתה דא אמירם ועלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. We have a few announcements to share with all of you.
Yay, announcements.
A little bit more maybe because we're still in Pesach.
Woohoo!
We will be back here on Facebook Live for our virtual Pesach morning service with Yizkor on Wednesday, April the 15th at 10:30 a.m. Just a reminder that our building is closed and that our entire staff can be reached by email or via Facebook Messenger. We're here for you during this time, so please, if you need anything, let us know. Our next Facebook Live Shabbat service will be Friday, April the 17th at 6:30 p.m. If you would like to join us for our Torah study, our Sichat Shabbat will take place next Saturday at 9 a.m. on Zoom. Please leave your email in the comments if you would like to be added to that distribution list for next Shabbat class. And on Thursday, April 16th at noon, we will do our Lunch with the Rabbi, Pesach edition over Zoom. If you're not part of that group yet and would like to join us, please let us know if you need more details and we'll add you to that list as well.
It's really nice, the things that we're able to still do. I mean, I know it's not the same way. It's not necessarily the same as sitting around a table eating lunch together, but we can still do it. And I just think that's amazing. Thank goodness.
So that'll be a new experience. We would like to thank our friends at Blue Fox for hosting us today and to everyone who's joined us from our area and from around the world. We are planning other ways to stay in touch virtually from this Shabbat until next, so please stay tuned.
If I forget all of this information between now and, say, 2 seconds from now, because that seems to be where my brain is there a way to find it again?
Most of it is on our Facebook.
Excellent.
Congregational page. You can also get some information if you contact us directly. And on Friday mornings, everybody will receive, who is on our mailing list, will receive their e-news with links for next Shabbat and things like that. So
if I didn't get one this Friday and I should be on the list, I should check my junk folder and spam just to make sure.
Right. Or you might also check if at one point in your recent life, you unsubscribed from our e-news. And if you did that, you're no longer receiving it. So
I didn't think about that. So resubscribe. Just send an email saying, please, I would like to receive this again so I can have all the wonderful
so. I'm not sure how it's
information.
done, but if you just let us know, we'll direct it to the right
Wonderful.
desk so it could be done.
So many things to learn, so many things to remember.
So check us out on Facebook, like our page, follow our page so you'll get notifications when we go live. And please leave comments to about our service and other virtual events. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, and stay healthy, everybody.
All righty.
We will conclude our time together singing Ein Keloheinu. Is on page 626, and we're going to be singing the first and second stanzas.
Ein Keloheinu,
Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu. Mi Eloheinu, Mi Kadonenu, Mi Kemalkeinu, Mi Kemoshienu. Moshiachenu.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Chag
Mwah.
Sameach.